Welcome back, Book Fiends, to Wicked Good Books, a channel dedicated to books and things book adjacent. My name is Nick, and I'm the host of this channel. The idea for this video originally came from the Brothers Gwynne channel, which I'll link down below, and then I was sort of like post-tagged by Johanna to try it out because I loved her video, and I'll post her link down below as well. The build your own warband tag / booktube activity. I just love the idea. I love writing in D&D, and I felt like this was kind of like putting all the eggs into one basket, so to speak. So I'm really excited to get to this, so let's jump right into it. Their first prompt on this list is Leader. Now, the name that popped into my head first was Jasna Kholin from the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. Jasna is one of my all-time favorite characters in fantasy, let alone just an incredible leader in her own right. I can't say too much spoilers for Oathbringer and beyond. She's on the cover. Incredibly powerful and sassy, but also just almost worships knowledge and learning from different cultures and from the past, and also debunking certain religious customs and societal rules. Essentially, she's really excellent at breaking the rules, but offering a pretty decent solution afterwards. And I feel like she would make an excellent leader for a warband. I guess this video will kind of be a little spoilers for some of these characters because I can't talk about why I'm picking them without talking about some of their best attributes. With Jasna, I'll just say she's extremely powerful, but even without her powers, just her brain would be more than enough to lead my warband. And I also like the idea that she would be the one sort of governing and leading this motley crew of characters that we're about to go through. I think that alone, I almost want to write a fan fiction about it because I think it would be hilarious, especially with the next character on this list. The second prompt is Champion. I can think of no other character more perfect for this role other than Karsa Orlong from the Malzahn Book of the Fallen series by Steven Erikson. Witness. Karsa is a extremely complex character, and while it might seem like there's not a lot going on upstairs, there really is, and he is just an excellent fighter. He's a champion among his people. He's a champion among the heroes and characters he binds himself to. He's weirdly loyal if you can get on his good side, but overall, he's just an absolute brute. And he's totally able to take down foes that are larger than life, or I don't want to say his size. He is a Tobokai, so he's pretty large. The only other character I can think of that would match Karsa Orlong would be like Kratos from God of War. He is that powerful and that menacing, but also just he's smarter than he thinks, or he's smarter than people give him credit for. And I feel like that would be, having a champion that'd be a mindless brute wouldn't necessarily be a benefit for this warband, especially under the leadership of Jasna Kholin. So I do like that Karsa has a little bit of brains up there other than just his brawn, and I feel like he could take on any enemy that my warband came across. Third prompt is Councillor. I picked none other than Sandan Glokta from the First Law series by Joe Abercrombie. Just the top three of these, just Jasna and Karsa and Glokta working together would probably never happen. Like, they would probably end up killing each other. It would be like a battle royale. But in this fantasy setting of my warband, we'll say they came together under a common cause. And between Jasna and Glokta, the two of them would make an unbeatable team, I think. No one can match their wits or their strategy, their tactics, or their ability to talk themselves in and out of situations, but mostly just their planning and working with other diplomats in other countries, and binding people together and doing the right thing when the world is sort of just extremely dark, and telling and society is essentially forcing them to do the wrong thing. They still stare back at it and do the opposite and rebel and come out on top. And I feel like if I'm going to send someone in there to debate and politic and deal with the politicians of this warring nation that I'm against, or this warring party, there's no other person I'd want on there than the menacing Sandan Glokta. He is one of my favorite characters in fantasy, and I feel like he would just be absolutely capable of handling any of the counseling that this war band might get into, if we do. Hi, buddy. Hey, beautiful girl. Smile. And now I just really want fan art of Jasna Kholin, Karsa, and Glokta just working together, walking down the same street. I just feel like I just need that in my life. I would frame it, honestly. But Glokta would make an excellent counselor. I think he would be able to handle any of the politics or the regulations, or even some of the dirty work that the warband might find themselves into in this fantasy party. The fourth prompt on this tag is the Magician. Now, this one was tough because there's a lot of mages and wizards and warlocks and necromancers that I love dearly, and it was really hard to kind of pick the right fit for this party because I was trying not to use the same series more than once. I believe that's a rule of this tag. So I picked Nynaeve Elmira from Wheel of Time for my Magician. Just an absolute powerhouse magic user, we'll say. I know magic and the light and the source is a little different in Wheel of Time, but we'll just say they're basically magicians. Nynaeve would be just totally capable of wiping out any of my enemy's forces when they're using magic or arcane works. Nynaeve would be up to the challenge, and just to see Karsa Orlong and Nynaeve like in the same party, because I know Nynaeve would just whip him into shape and he wouldn't be able to give her any shit at all. He would just be like beholden to her. This party would be like, I don't know if they end up fighting themselves and totally rebelling each other, but we'll say under the common cause they're going to work together. And I would just love to see Nynaeve, who is just in the Wheel of Time one of my favorite characters. In my personal opinion, Nynaeve is one of the most powerful magicians / wizards magic users in fantasy. So I feel like it's a little cheap, and this party is already pretty OP, but those are the rules, so I'm just picking some of my favorite characters that fit this criteria, okay? Prop number 5 is Swordsman. Again, sticking with my OP, my overpowered list here. I picked Drizzt Do'Urden from Ari Salvatore's The Legend of the Dark Elf series. Not only is Drizzt an amazing swordsman with his dual-bladed scimitars, dual fighting scimitars, but he's also extremely sympathetic and empathetic, as well as a bit of a diplomat too, so I feel like he'd be really great in certain situations. But he's just, with his fighting companion Gwynne, I didn't use it as the animal companion, but he does have it, so I kind of cheated to having 2 animal companions. But Drizzt Do'Urden fighting side by side with Karsa Orlong, there's no foe that could take on this warband. Prop number 6 is Axeman, and I picked Hessa from Hall of Smoke by H.M. Long. This is a character that crawled into my heart and nestled in the cold space there. That was a spot that I was missing, where you get this Viking-esque shield maiden axe warrior character, but who also has a bit of magic too, where she has these shouting abilities. And I feel like it reminds me a little bit of Skyrim in that regard, but it feels very Norse, and it would be the perfect character I want on my front lines, breaking shields, but also a character that's capable of pulling kids or wounded out of a bad situation or out of the fray, and that's the kind of character I want on my front lines, side by side with Drizzt, who I also think is capable of doing the right thing in a situation where innocents are in danger, because I don't want my warband to just be tearing apart cities. We're here to do good, but also fuck shit up. Number 7 on this prompt is Archer. Sticking with my OP, I got Brigitte, or Brigitte from Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. I almost went Legolas, and I feel like that's what a lot of booktubers do that I've seen, but I just love Brigitte's character. I love that she just doesn't give a damn about what anybody thinks about her in this timeline. She just wears her pants and has her magical bow, and I'm not going to say which Brigitte I'm picking, because I don't want to give spoilers away, but I would say that this is the past Brigitte, or before the book started, with her magical bow. I feel like there's no shot she could miss, and I would want her right in the back, just essentially a sniper, picking off all the most crucial targets, especially generals or captains. This is the perfect character to do that. I feel like the Archer would have to have a good banter with all these different characters, and I would just love to see Brigitte and Karsa in the same room together, or even Brigitte and Glokta would be hilarious. Like their debates alone would just be Mass Effect BioWare tier entertainment to me anyway. Number 8 is Animal Companion. I picked Greywind, which is Robb Stark's direwolf from Game of Thrones, for no other reason other than I saw Animal Companion and I saw her champion. These are the 2 characters that will be on the front lines battling. I couldn't think of a more fiercer Animal Companion than Greywind, as Greywind's described as just completely ruthless. Once he had the taste of man, he just couldn't let it go and became just this absolute monster on the battlefield. And now him and Robb worked in tandem almost as if one. I felt like a giant, vicious wolf would be the perfect companion to fight side by side with Karsa Orlong. It just felt very fitting. And I, in my mind, I just imagined Karsa riding direwolves, riding Greywind into battle, and that was just all I needed to see. Number 9 is the wild card, and I picked Toshi Umizawa from the Betrayers of Kamigawa series by Scott McGough. This is actually a Magic the Gathering novel that I read many years ago, back when they were doing novels with each set, and I just absolutely loved when they did that. So wizards, if for whatever reason you're watching, please bring those back. They're amazing. Toshi uses blood magic and blood wards and blood kanjis to battle. He's kind of like a trickster slash rogue. He's got a little bit of Loki in there, but I just love those cutthroat smuggler kind of characters. He's kind of like a Han Solo character, and when I saw Wildcard, he just the first name that popped in my head. I want a character that can slip in and out of the ranks, you know, using his dark magic to break down the forces or sneak into a castle and get the dirty work done that I need him to get done. He felt like a perfect companion to mix with this completely overpowered and more morally light people. So I feel like Toshi kind of like, between Toshi and Karsa, they kind of lean the party a little bit. So it felt like a pretty fitting character to add. And plus, I don't hear a lot of people talking about the Kamigawa novels, so please, if you haven't read them, check them out. Toshi Umezawa is one of my favorite characters in that series, and just his blood magic alone is just, it's really visceral, but I feel like it'd be extremely potent in any situation, especially on the front lines, side by side with Karsa Orlong and Dristu Erden. But that's my warband, so let me know what you think about it. I'm going to include art and links to the books down below of all the characters I mentioned. I'm pretty confident, I'm pretty proud of this warband, and I would be totally willing to figure out what the stats are and pin this warband up against others. That would actually be a lot of fun. So Johanna, come at me. Let's see what our warbands do. My warband versus your warband, or maybe we can team up and have an alliance. We'll see. But this was a lot of fun, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one. Stay wicked.